Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back here to my channel where I play Planet Zoo. My name is Nisse and today we're gonna start part 1 of a 3-part build. It's gonna be a massive tropical house and I want to have 3 different corners of this house, which would be 3 different corners of the world. The one we're gonna do today is South America, so we will make the building itself today and we will make this South American part of the build. Then next time we're gonna make another part of the world along with a restaurant area and finish up a bit of the building, maybe something I missed today or something like that. And then the third episode, we're gonna take a third part of the world and clean it up outside with some foliage work, maybe some statues, make it pretty from the outside. So yeah, that's the plan. I hope you're in for a long ride. I hope you're okay with the fact that I'm splitting this up because I actually thought this video alone would be over an hour, so I'm shocked by the time of it. But still, I don't think you would like to watch all of this in a row. So yeah, hopefully you will tune in for all 3 videos. They will come up this weekend, next weekend, and maybe one of them in the middle of next week or the weekend after that. Depending on also with my mods video, because we're gonna use a hell of a lot of mods this all of these 3 areas. And if you watch my mods videos this week, you know we're going for South America. I clearly won't have time to talk about every single animal, so I will mention who they are. And they are the white-cheeked Pintail duck, the southern screamer. Then we have 2 different flamingos. I believe it's the American and the James flamingo. I'm not quite sure about that, but it's from the same pack. Then we have the 9-band Armadillo, the Santa Cruz Island giant tortoise, and the red-footed tortoise. And that was pretty much my plan, but then I actually remembered it would be so perfect to add iguanas, so I chose to go back in and add the iguanas. Actually pretty late. I think I finished the video like half an hour before it went out yesterday, because I just thought, well, if I want iguanas, then this is the perfect place to have them. I looked at a lot of mods yesterday, I think 5 different iguana mods, but I'm only using 2 of them. One of them is green iguana, fire, and something I can't pronounce, but it's a blue and red colored green iguanas. And then the second iguana we're gonna add in here will be the Grand Cayman blue iguana. If you want to see my showcase of all of these 5 mods, I put them into the same video. It's went up yesterday, Friday. Yeah, I can't say the time because that depends on where in the world you are. But it is up now, and all of my videos on the mods we used today will be linked below, along with the link to Nexus where you can go and download them. I try to make it fairly easy to figure out which link it is, but if you have an idea about how I can make it even easier for you, please tell me in the comments below. Now, when you make a tropical house, there's a few things that you need to consider first, and then there's a few things that you can choose to consider. One thing that you really should consider before building it is how many animals you want in there, how you want the layout to be. Would you like 10 small habitats in there? How would they be planned out? Or would you rather have, like I always like to build bigger habitats but then have multiple of animals in there. There's nothing wrong with anything else, but that's just what I personally prefer. Then of course you need to figure out which height you want to use, and I make my fairly big, and that's because I want this rainforest feel of it. So when my guests go in here and go around, then you can see the light shine through the ceiling and these walls, but you can also get this feeling of this sunlight getting through these tall trees and the plants, and it all gonna pull in together, which I think you can't get with anything else. You don't have to use even glass ceilings or walls if you don't feel like it. You can basically make a tropical basement if that's what you want. But the way the lighting works in this game, it would be fairly difficult, and in practical it would also be extremely expensive with the light. So I always want to use something that brings in a lot of light. And the shape here on the top is only because I just think it makes the building noticeable, and basically you're gonna be able to see this building from the parking lot. Therefore, you won't want a building that are noticeable, so when people drive by, maybe not drive into the parking lot, but just drive by out on the road, they see this building and kind of get remember the fact that you have a zoo in there, and you always want people around your zoo to be aware that they can come and go to your zoo when they want. Yeah, I really try to figure out how it would be practical to enter these habitats, because I kind of want to be able to hide the entrances for the guest inside the habitat, but it won't be easy to hide it from the guest outside of the habitat. But I go with the choice of the 2 entrances back here, because then I can make kind of a backstage area. I wasn't going to use this space other way. And then the 1 gate on the other side, which is more noticeable, but I think in part 3 I'm gonna cover as much as possible with some foliage work. I'm going for a keeper hut, a vet, and a personal room, basically because we're gonna have a lot of personnel here. We need to have our own mechanic, we need some caretakers, we need some vendors for our restaurant, we need of course keepers and vets, so it just makes sense that they would have their own break room up here. And then of course I needed to be able to get them clean water. I actually have the plan of making a very very small water lake, so the water will go all around in all 3 habitats, the same body of water. Yeah, I chose this ugly kind of building basically because I want to be able just to cover it with tree and foliage, and these colors just fit in nicely. Yeah, I will take a minute to talk about the sad part, and the sad part is really the fact that a lot of animals worldwide are losing their homes. They haven't done anything to deserve it, and it's primarily because of us humans chopping down their trees, invading their privacy, building houses where there used to be a lot of diversity and a lot of palm oil, and of course there's also things like fires and climate change, and I know we're doing what we can to help lessen the climate change, and before we knew about it we couldn't really do that much about it, but we have so many different reasons that these animals are losing their home and therefore also losing their lives. Therefore I have found 3 different conservation programs where you can go and donate if you feel like it. One of them is called Amazon Conservation, of course focused on the Amazonian forest, and helps there, and of course you can go and read a lot about it in here. Another one is called Rainforest Alliance again, They do a lot of work to help prevent deforestation and in generally just help the rainforest. Again, rainforests are one of the most biodiverse places in the world, both with plants but certainly also with animals. And alone frogs have so many species that only live in rainforest, and we are destroying them. And then of course lastly, you know me, I needed to add again the WWF, which makes a lot of beautiful work worldwide to help all kind of animals in all kind of places. It's again, I provide these links for you. I don't expect you to go and donate to every single one of them, and I don't expect you to donate at all. This is just a possibility I put out there for you because it's your decision, it's your money, it's your life. I just think a lot of people would like to donate a lot more than they do, but they just don't know how to get started or where to get started, so I would like to provide the links. If you know of any good help organization that does a wonderful work with animals, please add a comment where you link them so we help spreading the word of these beautiful organization, which kind of is the last lifeline to a lot of animals. Again, you don't need to be restricted here to South America. If you know a good international help organization or one that you can donate to international, it can be it can of course be an organization that works quite locally, but if you want people to know about it, if you want to spread the word, my comment section are free to use, and I will look at them. I promise everything you put below as a help organization, I will check them out and maybe I will use them in another video. Again, all of these three links, I'll link below. Go and read about it, go and donate if you can and want to. But yeah, back to the video. I know this habitat ended up being a bit cramped, also why I actually chose not to give the flamingos any food enrichments, because they only have the one really big one. They are still happy. I gave them everything else they asked for, so they are happy, but the part here about the enrichment items, they take up a lot of space, and I also need to cram in a lot of foliage in here, so I actually wished I made it the double size, but I do believe you still get a good view of what I meant about it. Maybe I won't add as many animals in the other two parts of the world we're gonna have in here. Anyway, it takes a long time when you use mud. It takes longer time to actually get the enrichments, because you can search, you know, normally you have the little search box down in the corner where you can search for the animal and their enrichment will come up. When you use muds, they just don't. So therefore you need to go into Wikipedia and check, and then you forgot half of it, so you go back in and check again, and then you go back in to check again. That's why you can see me this much inside of Wikipedia. But I made sure all of them are from South America, all of the animals in here, and they all like the tropical forest areas, so therefore it is quite easily to make the foliage work, but the enrichment takes up a lot of time and a lot of place. Almost all of the animals in here are either neutral or confident with humans. That is beside the 9-band armadillo. It is quite shy with humans, and therefore it's so important to give them places to hide. I kept that in mind already here when I placed the enrichment item, because I want them to be able to reach their enrichments without having to go get too close with the humans. They can swim, so they can actually go from their burrow and all the way through all the way beside the wall over to the enrichments out here, and they can also go down in their burrow and just hide. That helps a lot with armadillos. But beside that, the animals are actually fairly confident, and a few of them neutral with humans, and therefore they will actually, as you can see already now, they go over the path, and that the path actually counts as the part of the traversable area. Of course, we need a few heaters in here because it can be quite cold in the winter, so therefore we want to make sure it's always about 25 degrees, I think I set it to. It can be hotter in here, of course, but at least 25 degrees. And I actually forgot I was planning to add some misters in the ceiling, so you will get this mist of water down over the trees and the foliage, and you will get this really humectant air, which isn't that pleasant for people when you go in there, but it is for the animals, and it also kind of adds to the feel of being in a rainforest. You probably saw I planted some food enrichment out in the water on the little island thing out there, and I actually thought the keepers would be able to reach it. They are not. The water is just so low there, so I thought it wouldn't be a problem. It is, so therefore I go in. I don't remember if I did it on camera or not, but I did go in and move them. But time for the foliage work. And I'm not really sure if stones counts as foliage, but it's what I'm doing. And I just want to cover this edge on the pathing up here. I just doesn't think it fits in. I think the path itself fit in, but this light wood just seems wrong in this tropical forest feel. So I want to cover it as much as possible, and I use these mossy stones that only have moss on the top because I think they bring the most color scheme and it brings the most life to your headset. Now it's time for the trees, and I am aware that some YouTubers actually choose always to add the smallest items first and then build up for there. I just personally like better to do it this way because I think it's easier to fill in gaps with the small things afterwards after you place the bigger things. But it's a personal thing. If you want the one of the or the other, nothing is more right than the other. It's just up to you what feels the most natural for you. I just always recommend that you do sort it so you place them in smaller what's it called, so you use the tags here. You see I use the tag South Central America and tropical, and then I go in and add these. If you want it in one order or the other, totally up to you, but I do recommend doing it so you kind of don't get all of the foliage at once, but kind of get them in these small bundles so you actually can see what you have to work with. In the beginning I was just scrolling up and down and up and down and up and down, and I 100% just lost count of what actually was available for the biome and continent I was building on. So therefore always split them up. It's for just to help yourself. Yeah, and of course we need to add as many plants as possible in here. It is a tropical forest, so we need some tropical plants. I would just like to mention again, if you found an animal here you really want in your game, it's mostly mods. I think it's actually all mods today in here, and they are white-cheeked Pintail duck, southern screamer, and then I have the James's flamingo. I think it's the James, it might be the Indian, but the dark red flamingo is certainly the American flamingo. Then we got the 9-band Armadillo, Santa Cruz Island Tortoise, which is the big one, and then we got the red-footed tortoise, which is the small one. Then we have two different iguanas, the one of them called Queen Iguana, and it's the one that has the fire and something I can pronounce. And lastly, we have the Grand Cayman Blue Iguana. So the fire and the thing I can't pronounce iguana is the red one and the blue one. And then the Grand Cayman Blue Iguana is the one that's more pale blue in the color. I add as many different colors of flowers out here than I can to bring in as much as life, as color and light as I possibly can. Then again, this is the only workshop item I'm using today. It's called Education and Various, and it's from Shista. It is a workshop item, meaning you don't need any much, you don't need any expansion pack. You can just go to workshop on Steam and pick it up. It is linked below, so if you don't want to search for it, it is right there. I actually mix more of these together. It's the same one I use, of course, but I do this tricks I actually done before in the European forest, where I first of all I need to figure out where to place it, of course, but then I actually copying it over and then remove the other education part, and then here you can see I will try to move them in together, and I think I add 3 of them together here on this side and then double it over on the other side. I remove the other education piece in between because we just don't need that many. 2 on a single habitat is enough. I am aware on the fact that this looks weird from the main part, but when we in part 3 we'll go in and try to make the foliage around the habitat or around the building, then this will make much more sense. We only needed 1 speaker there and 1 in here to make sure that they don't overlap, and basically it doesn't matter which animal you pick, but just put in something. And then of course a donation box in every end and a trash can. We don't want our guests to be motivated to leave trash any other places in here. And then I add a single screen here for the armadillo, so we can look down in the burrow. And here I wasn't sure whether or not the armadillo could reach the burrow, because I haven't seen them down there in a while, so I moved these trees just a bit to make sure that they can enter. And then I add this one out here because I don't need 2 for the armadillo. It would take a lot of space if I place one for every single part of this. Now I'll go up here because I don't know if you noticed before, but from down in the habitat it looks weird that the restaurant floor had this a thing underneath where you can really see it. So I just try to move the entire thing up so it's kind of covered with the tree. So I just move it up 1 meter at a time. Here a 1/2 meter the one way, a 1/2 meter the other way, and see how long I can go before it's covered. And it seems that's around here, so I just remake the entire floor. And afterwards, of course, I also need to lift up the entire restaurant. That was a bit more difficult, just to make sure to pick every single thing to move it all together. And there, and then I just needed this part moved up, and then it wouldn't place probably, so I needed to place them again individually. Then I went in and removed all of these 3 parts down here from because now it covers the bottom part but not the top part. I think even though there are glass barrier, it would be more comfortable standing up there if you feel like something wood, something real, something strong keeps you up. So therefore I chose to add the 2 meters here, so it's 1 meter above the floor and 1 meter beneath the floor. And then of course I needed to go in and redo the staircase, which became a bit longer now, but it still fits luckily. And then of course we put this up down here to have this nice coverage of it. It just looks stupid with this underpath thing, and I don't like it. So this was way better, and then I need to replace this speaker down here. But I actually think that's it, guys, and I've been talking too much again. So enjoy the cinematics. I hope you like it, and tell me below if you do. Okay guys, that's all I got for you today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're tuning in next week when we make part 2 and maybe part 3 already in next week. So yeah, Guess below which animals do you think, or which part of the world you think is the next part I'm gonna cover here. I will stop talking now. You're probably tired of hearing me, so the last thing I say is, you know the drill, like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you know the next time I upload a video. I really hope to see you again, either in the comments below or in the next video. Bye guys!